Well, good day to you, and welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Now, real quick before I get going, I just want to say if you are new to this information and you want to know more, might I suggest investigating this information for yourself. Look into it and see if it's true for you. Check out some of the information on some of the websites that I provided links for in the description portion of these videos to get really good background information to help in your investigation. Look at the Share International site. Read more about it. This information on that site. You'll get really good background information from the Share International site. Probably the best background information you can get there than you can anywhere else. So check it out, and it's also free. You want to come back and join the discussion? Post a comment and let me know what you think. If you have a question you want to ask me, post your question in the comment section. Or if you want to talk to me about something related to this information or about you and this information or whatever, email me, searchforsigns@mail.com. Okie dokie. Now, I want to talk about something a little different. I got a different background photo in this video. It's cloud formations, and it's based on something that's in the news here. And you might have seen it on your Facebook feed, or you might have seen it on YouTube. But there was quite an extraordinary experience in the Philippines. And my wife's a Filipina, and she just happened to catch this on her Facebook feed this morning and showed it to me. And I'll tell you kind of how it went down, and I'll tell you what I think it is, and we'll talk about it and maybe learn more about this information this way. So she told me that there was a church in the Philippines, and she was watching this video, and they came out of they were a Catholic church, and they came out of Mass, and they looked up in the sky, and they saw an image of a cloud, but it looks like an image of Jesus coming in, in the clouds. And how is Jesus supposed to come back? In the clouds, right? So, of course, there was quite a fervor over it. It made the news. I saw it on Fox News' site. I looked at some other websites, other news sites, to see if they had any information about it, and there were some other news sites. So it's probably a legitimate happening. It's probably not AI. You have to kind of wonder now whether it's real or not based on AI, what they can do. And I don't have access to a master where I could ask him, like Benjamin Crème, to see if it was an authentic miracle, but probably more than likely it was. So my wife told me about what happened. I watched the video, and she asked me something she doesn't normally ask me. She goes, "What do you think?" Normally she doesn't even ask me what I think. But she knows I talk about this. She knows I've been into miracles and into Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom. She doesn't necessarily believe it. She's a devout Christian, but we seem to get along pretty well. And she asked me what I thought. And I said, "I can see that you're shocked about it." She goes, "Yeah, I'm shocked." And I said, "You want to know what my take is on it?" And she goes, "What?" I said, "I'm not shocked at all." She goes, "Why is that?" I said, "Because there's been cloud formations and pictures of cloud formations for years. This is nothing new. It's just been a while since we've talked about it in the news, Each one of these pictures in the background of this photo, or of this video, are images of cloud formations that like this. And there's also some that I don't have a picture of that look like spaceships, which are created by the Space Brothers and Sisters and their spacecraft and so forth. In every instance of these cloud formations, whether it's Jesus or the Madonna or angels or whatever, they're created by thought by one of these masters. These masters are privy to a science that we're not privy to. So these miracle signs that we consider miracles and we are just floored and shocked and in awe and have this surreal moment about, from the master's point of view, is like, I don't know, starting a match. I mean, it's a science to them. And eventually we'll learn how to do that kind of science too, but at this moment in time we don't. So when our scientists try to explain in a quote-unquote scientific way about these miracles, and they try to explain it away, they don't understand that they're not the end-all and be-all of science, that there's other science that we'll know about too. So rather than just saying, "I don't know," they choose to kind of put a spin on it that makes it seem like it's a failed missile test or whatever like that. But these masters can create thought forms in the clouds that look like images, and that's what we see here. So in the images that look like Jesus, more than likely the master who is Jesus, we call him the Master Jesus in the Ageless Wisdom Teachings, he probably was the one that created that thought form. The times that it looks like the Madonna, it was the master who was the Madonna that did that. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is now one of the masters who will eventually be the first female master a few hundred years from now. Right now, all the masters are male, but eventually she'll incarnate as the first female master. And then more and more masters will become female after that. But anyway, so she does her miracles too, and they're usually centered around images of the Madonna and that kind of thing. And then any other thing where it looks like an angel could be any of these masters. Could be Maitreya putting that thought form out there. But it's very easy for these masters to do, and they do it for a specific reason. They do it to help inspire and give hope to those who see it, and it generally does that. The other thing I wanted to say about these miracles too, that I think that we're not really understanding because we're not connecting the dots in this way, but they're also teaching humanity just how one we really are. So what do I mean by that? Well, this particular miracle happened in front of Catholics in the Philippines, probably fundamental Catholics. Now, it would be natural for any one of those people or somebody who's watching a video about this miracle who is a fundamentalist Christian to believe and say to themselves that this confirms my belief. I must be right. Jesus is real, and that kind of thing. And typically, people who are very secular and fundamental have a tendency to believe that other people are wrong. They got it right, other people are wrong, right? That's what's creating the political and economic divisions out there, and religious divisions in this case. So it'd be natural for them to say that, but they don't understand that there are people who are Muslim in the Middle East who are having their miracles, and people in Israel who are Jewish who are having their miracle signs, and then people who are very devout Hindus in India who are having miracles. And then there's countless number of thousands, maybe millions of people who have had experiences or seen these miracles for themselves who don't practice any religion and are left with a greater sense of hope. So the times that I saw these miracles, I've seen crosses of light for myself, I've seen UFOs for myself, I've met Maitreya many times, I've been saved by accidents many times by these masters because I do stupid stuff in my life. And in no way have I ever felt the need to believe something different than I believe. But I've always been left with a greater sense of hope. So, therefore, the question I want to leave you with, if you're hearing this video, is if these miracles, which you can do your research and you can see they're happening to every religious group and people of no particular religious faith, and you might even have had an experience that you would consider to be a miracle, if they're happening to people all over the world, from all walks of life, all different types of religious backgrounds, skin color, language, whatever, and they're leaving people with a greater sense of hope, would it not be true to say that then the hope for mankind is really for all of mankind? That's the question I want to leave you with. I want you to ponder on that if you're listening to this video. I will say this, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert. When we see Maitreya out in the open, known for who he is, he will be for all of mankind, not just for one group, not just for one country. He will not just align himself with the Christians. He will not just align himself with the Muslims. He will not just align themselves with the progressives on the political spectrum. He will align himself with no one. He is for all humanity. He will really be the example of unity. We will see exactly what it means to be and to live life as one through these masters, through Maitreya and these masters. But these miracle signs, I think, are showing us just how one we really are. The other thing that I want to leave you with is that the problems that we're facing on a daily basis, the environment, the political and economic divisions, war, terrorism, crime, injustice, are also teachers that are showing humanity just how one we are too, because they're all affecting each and every one of us, and should be looked at as our teachers, as our, teaching us a lesson of unity and oneness. Love you guys. Thank you very much for listening. And I look forward to putting up videos in the very near future. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.